These are what some of the flats look like on Oahu. There's quite a variety, from sand to mud to limestone platforms. In Hawaii, the best time to fly fish the flats is on a falling tide. Most of the flats are quite deep, and the last 3 hours of low tide and the first 3 hours of the incoming are probably the prime time for Hawaiian flats. Beach. Behind me you can see the mangroves. The water's about 2 feet deep. Right now it's still on the high tide side. It's going to go down. We'll be watching for tail and bonefish. You see the nice bottom sand flats, coral. Bonefish are sort of the scavengers of the flats. In Hawaii they'll feed on benthic worms, on shrimp, on crabs, on octopus, on mollusks, and even sea urchins. And in Hawaii, it's sort of the opposite. In other places, they'll start showing up on a falling tide because the volume of water starts to drop. The prey can't get away very easily. And the narrower the water column, the more advantageous it is to these bonefish, which are pretty lightning fast. Almost 8 o'clock on Kamehameha Flats, so I got the GoPro on the top of the hat brim. Sight fishing on the flats, you got about a 30-foot window before the glare cuts out your vision. You're looking for fish that are almost translucent tubes, feeding on a flat that's almost the same color as they are. So it's very important to try to get the fly in front of the fish, far enough away that you don't spook them, especially in this really shallow water. Bonefish are one of the premier saltwater fly fishing targets. It's like the ultimate video game. You got to see these fish. You got to cast to where you think they're going. And you got to do this within a 30-foot view window. If they see you first, they'll flare. If you get the fly too close to them, they'll flare. The idea is to drop the fly in front of them and wait till they get close and then give it a little tug, like an escaping creature. And just like a cat, they will pounce on it if they see it. Hawaii has diurnal tides, which means there are 2 high tides and 2 low tides that are different every day. So the first high tide may be a foot high, the second one may be 2.5 feet high, and vice versa. Okay, so I had a couple little frames frozen here so you can try to spot the bonefish before the action starts up again. So played a little game, see if you can see them. Okay, here's a typical flat. See if you can spot a bonefish. It's not easy. You can catch fish blind casting in trevally that way before. There's my first barracuda on fly. Most of the flats in Hawaii are protected by an outer barrier reef, and this is a good example. You can see the breakers way offshore. In between the beach here and those breakers, it's all fishable flats, especially on a low tide.
I want to go back to my little grass shack back in Hawaii. I want to be with all the Connies and Mahinis that I knew long ago. I can hear old guitars all playing on the beach at Ho'oponopono. I can hear the old Hawaiian saying, it won't be long when my ship will be sailing back home.
Another species. Looks like a needlefish. Big mouth, big mouth.
You're telling me I'm just a little Hawaiian, a homesick island boy. I want to go back to
on the fly.
I want to go back to my little grass shack.
Bonefish on the fly.
Where the humuhumunukunukuapua'a go swimming by.
Okay, this is a humuhumunukunukuapua'a that was swimming by.
When my ship will be sailing back to Kona, a grand old place that's always fair to see. You're telling me I'm just a little Hawaiian, a homesick island boy. I want to go back to my fishing boy. I want to go back to my little grass shack back in Hawaii, where the humuhumunukunukuapua'a go swimming by. Where the humuhumunukunukuapua'a go swimming by.
This is my last day here on Kamehameha Flats. See what happens. It's been a nice time here for the month of July and August in Hawaii, so we'll see what happens. I'll get back. If we get a fish on, we'll record it. Bye-bye.